You've never told anyone what happened that night. Not your family, not your teammates, not the people who sent you in. Because the people who sent you in, they already know. They just don't care. This isn't a story about war. It's not about heroism. It's not about doing the right thing. It's about what happens when a mission goes wrong. Everyone around you starts dying, and the only order that comes through your earpiece are two words: abort, survive. This is what that looks like from the inside, level by level, decision by decision, until there's nothing left to decide. Level 1, the brief. You're sitting in a metal folding chair in a windowless room somewhere in Eastern Europe. You don't know the city. You weren't told. A man you've only ever known as Handler slides a manila folder across the table. One photograph, one name, one location. A detained asset, high value, alive for now, being held in a facility that officially doesn't exist. Your job is simple, at least on paper. Go in, get him out, come back. 48 hours, 4-man team. You've done this before. Different country, different name, same folder. You nod. You sign nothing. There is nothing to sign. Handler closes the folder, stands up. Standard protocol. Wheels up at 0200. You don't sleep that night. You never do before a job. But it's not nerves. It's something else. A weight that sits just behind your sternum. The kind that only shows up when something is already wrong and you just don't know it yet. Level 2. Insertion. The drop is clean. Too clean. You land 3 clicks east of the facility in a stretch of dead farmland that smells like diesel and frozen dirt. Your team is Milo, Reyes, and a man everyone calls Dutch. You've worked with all 3 before. You trust them the way you trust a weapon. Completely, conditionally. You move fast, no talking, hand signals only. The facility appears on the ridge exactly where the satellite imagery said it would. Single story, perimeter fence, 2 guard posts, 1 vehicle. Everything matches the brief. That's the first thing that should have told you something, because nothing ever matches the brief. Milo takes the east approach. You and Reyes move west. Dutch holds the ridge with eyes on the whole yard. 2 tangos, south gate, rotating every 9 minutes, Dutch whispers in your ear. You wait. You count. 8 minutes, not 9. You file that away. You move anyway. Level 3, the asset. You find him in the 3rd room on the left, exactly where they said he'd be. He's sitting upright, wrists zip-tied to a pipe, eyes open, awake. Too awake. His name is Varric, mid-50s, analyst, former intelligence, worth more alive than dead, apparently, to enough people that someone paid to send you here. You cut his zip ties. He stands immediately. No stumbling, no stiffness. A man who's been in that chair for 3 days doesn't stand like that. You don't say anything about it. Can you run? You ask. I've been waiting for you, he says. Not yes, not I think so. I've been waiting for you. Dutch's voice crackles in your ear. Movement at the north end. 6 personnel. Armed. They're not reacting, they're positioning. There's a difference. You know the difference. Reacting means they found you. Positioning means they knew you were coming. Milo, you whisper. Status. Silence. Milo. Silence. Reyes grabs your arm. You grab Varric. You run. Level 4. Everything breaks. The corridor erupts behind you. Not gunfire, not yet. Shouting, boots on concrete, organized, coordinated. Dutch is gone from comms. Milo is gone from comms. You have Reyes and a man who doesn't move like a prisoner, and the building that is suddenly full of people who were waiting for you to be exactly where you are. You hit the east exit. It's locked. It wasn't locked on the blueprint. Reyes pulls a charge from his vest. 3 seconds. The door blows. Cold air. Darkness. Open ground. You break left toward the tree line, 200 meters away. And then the floodlights come on. All of them. At once, the entire perimeter lights up like midday. You run anyway because there's nothing else to do. You're 50 meters from the tree line when you hear the shot. Reyes goes down. Not dead, not yet. He's still moving, still reaching. You stop. You know you shouldn't stop. Every part of your training, every instinct hammered into you over 10 years says, do not stop. You stop. You grab him, you drag him, you cross the last 50 meters with his arm over your shoulders and his blood on your jacket, and the sound of boots getting louder behind you. You hit the tree line. You keep moving. Level 5. The forest. 3 hours in the trees. Reyes can't walk. The round went through his thigh, high up, not the artery, or he'd already be gone, but deep enough that every step you make for him costs him something. Varric keeps pace beside you, silent, efficient. You hate that about him. You try comms again, dead, jammed, or your unit's been compromised, or both. The exfil point is 6 clicks northeast, a road, a vehicle, a driver who doesn't know your name. Supposed to be there by 500. It's 3:40 a.m. You have 90 minutes and 6 clicks and a man who can't walk and a man you don't trust and no backup and no comms. You start moving. The forest is black, not dark, black, the kind of black that has weight. You navigate by compass and memory and the angle of a cold wind coming off the hills to the north. Varric keeps pace beside you. You know they burned the mission, he says quietly. Don't talk, you tell him. They were waiting for you. That wasn't a guard rotation. That was a welcome. I know, you say. Because you do. You've known since defense, since the footsteps, since his wrists. You keep walking. Level 6. The road. You make the exfil point at 0512. 12 minutes late. The road is empty. The vehicle is gone. There's a cigarette on the ground, still faintly warm. Someone was here. Someone left. Reyes is barely conscious now. His breathing has gone shallow and wet in a way that scares you more than the gunfire did. You sit him against a tree. You put pressure on the wound. You look at the empty road. Varric crouches beside you. There's a village, he says. 2 clicks west. I know someone there. How do you know someone in a village you were supposedly locked in a cell to never reach? He looks at you. He doesn't answer. And somehow that's the most honest thing he said all night. You have no vehicle, no comms, a dying teammate, a compromised asset who knows more than he said, and somewhere behind you a team of people who position themselves specifically to catch you in that building. You have 2 clicks and a maybe. Lead, you tell him. You lift Reyes again. You walk west. Level 7. The village. The house is at the edge of the village. Stone walls. 1 light on inside. Varric knocks 3 times. Pauses. Once more. The door opens. An old woman, 60s. She looks at you, at Reyes, at the blood, and she steps aside without a word. Inside is warm. A fire. A table. Medical supplies. Real ones. Not a first aid kit. Proper supplies. Organized. She's done this before. You lay Reyes on the table. She goes to work without being asked. You watch her hands. They're steady. Practiced. You look at Varric. Who is she, you ask. He's someone who understands that some extractions aren't about the asset. They're about what the asset knows, and who needs him silenced before he can say it. He sits down. Folds his hands on the table. Your handler didn't send you to rescue me, he says. He sent you to confirm I was still alive, and once that was confirmed, to leave a trail, a team, a mission that failed, one that could be pointed at later as evidence I was in contact with a foreign operative network. The fire pops. Reyes breathes. Shallow, but steady now. You stare at Varric. What do you have, you ask. Names, he says. Procurement records. A chain of payments going back 4 years through 3 governments, including yours. He looks at you. That's why they sent you in without real intel, without real backup, without a real exfil. They needed the mission to fail. They needed the footage of your team entering that facility. The weight behind your sternum is back. Heavier now. You say Dutch and Milo. He nods slowly. They were contained before you ever hit the fence. Level 8. The silence after. You sit in that stone house for 6 hours. No one comes. Maybe they're not looking. Maybe they're letting the story write itself. A failed extraction, an asset still missing, a team that went dark. Reyes makes it to morning. The old woman says he'll walk again, eventually. You don't know what to do with that. With the fact that he's alive and Dutch and Milo aren't. With the fact that you followed orders into a building designed to swallow you whole and somehow you're sitting by a fire in a village you can't name on a road that isn't on your map. Varric hands you a drive. Small, black, thumb-sized. He says, there are people who want this, the right people. You'll know who to trust by who already knows you're alive and hasn't come for you. He stands. What happens now, you ask? Now, he pulls his coat on, now you decide whether you go back, report in, tell them the mission failed and you barely survived. He pauses at the door. Or you disappear and figure out what to do with what you're holding. He leaves. You sit there. The drive is in your hand. You can feel your pulse in your fingers. Outside, the village is waking up. Smoke rising from chimneys, a dog somewhere, the sound of ordinary life wrapped around a moment that is anything but. Reyes opens his eyes, looks at you, looks at the drive, doesn't say anything. Final level. The choice. There's a number you memorized 3 years ago for a reason you were told you'd understand if you ever needed it. You never thought you'd need it. You pick up the old woman's phone. You dial. It rings once. A voice answers. Calm, familiar. Someone you've never met but know by reputation the way soldiers know the names of battles they weren't born for. We've been expecting your call, the voice says. How long, you ask. Since before the mission was assigned. You close your eyes. And Dutch and Milo. A pause. They'll be recovered. We made sure of that. You don't know whether to believe it. You don't know if it matters. What you know is this. The people who sent you in expected you to disappear. You didn't. That makes you a problem. And the only way to stop being a problem is to become something they can't control. You look at the drive. You look at Reyes. You put the phone back to your ear. Tell me what you need, you say. The voice on the other end says nothing for 3 full seconds. Then, come in from the cold. We'll talk. You stand up. The fire is almost out. You leave it. This mission didn't end in that village. It ended 6 months later in a courtroom that wasn't televised, with names that were never read into any record. But that's a different level. If you want to know what the drive contained, what Varric actually had, and what happened to the handler who burned the mission, you already know where to find the next one.